The Way 31 I-Team started to dig deeper into corruption, scandals, and scams all across the Tennessee Valley.
The digging usually involves going through a lot of paperwork. Most of them are public documents. Whether it's us or you, there should be no problem accessing them. There are even open record laws to ensure that you can hold the powerful accountable.
But in Alabama, the law protects the politicians, not the public, not you. In tonight's I-Team big story, Kat Reed reveals the problem and promises politicians are now making because of our questions.
Above the law or just hiding behind it.
It can be as short as just a week or two, or as long as 2-3 months, or never.
More people need to know that this is an issue.
State agencies and government officials in Alabama are sealing public records, despite the fact you're paying for it all. It's a situation drawing national attention from media experts, like Dan Beverly, executive director of the National Freedom of Information Coalition.
That's an accountability question that really needs to be addressed. I mean, why can't you access public information?
The American Civil Liberties Union had the same question.
Alabama should be working towards making itself more open and more transparent, as opposed to making it seem like they still operate behind closed doors.
Alabama is regarded as one of the least transparent states in the country by the Center for Public Integrity, the Better Government Association, and U.S. News and World Report. It's because of the state's Open Records Act. We live in one of the few states where there's no time deadline for agencies to respond to your request. There's no limit to how much they can charge you. They don't even have to acknowledge your request. In fact, they can just ignore you altogether.
Most cases, people will not take any action, and just by stonewalling, the city will win.
That was attorney Hank Sherrod's take when he spoke to us in February about body camera footage he requested from the city of Huntsville. And the Way 31 I-Team uncovered no matter the agency, the experience is about the same. Request after request rejected or flat out unanswered. Take, for example, this request Way 31 investigators sent in May of 2016. We wanted to know how much it was costing you to pay state troopers overtime. For 3 months, we checked in every week with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. Almost a year later, we still don't have the information. The timeline even surprised lawmakers.
A year sounds like a bit too long.
At the end of the day, we are serving the public. Taxpayer dollars pay for the services provided, so we should be very prompt as possible to make sure we get the service.
The issue doesn't just affect journalists. It hurts people like you. People like Mark Binner, a Huntsville resident who wanted to know what public officials were doing at taxpayer expense.
My thinking was that as a taxpayer, and I'm paying for these services, that I would have more access to information.
It hurts people like Adam Keller of the Alabama Education Association, who relies on the Open Records Act to protect teachers.
I had one institution actually requested I pay $170 for their lawyers' 4 hours of work in compiling the documents.
6 weeks ago, we took those concerns to the Capitol. Your elected officials vowed to take action.
I wouldn't have known this was an issue unless you had told me. So each agency needs to be more responsive. And if it takes a bill to revise law and put parameters in it, then so be it.
As a matter of fact, this interview itself is going to prompt me to do some checking up on our state agencies and how they, what their procedures and policies are.
To the extent that there is any inhibition in being able to get those records, then there is no transparency.
But that clock is still ticking. And with the legislative session coming to a close, records are still sealed. And the window to change that this year is closing. Reporting in Montgomery, Kat Reed, Way 31, Hometown News.
And our investigation into the state's open record laws is just beginning. Tomorrow, we're going to show you how the law impacts you without you even realizing it.
And to see all the I-Team stories, complete interviews, and documents about the stories, head over to waytv.com and scroll down to the I-Team section.